You are listening to the Central Indiana Sports Report, episode number 214.3. Dave Chanley reacts to Alex Palou's continued IndyCar domination with his win at the Thermal Club on Sunday.
You're listening to the Central Indiana Sports Report with your host, Greg Mengelt.
Back here with Dave Chanley, and a lot to talk about coming off of this race at Thermal, but I think we have to start with Alex Palou, and just looks like the dominant racer just tracked down Pato and drove right by him for the win.
Yes, and of course it's Ganassi Racing. They're just solid. They're good. They know what they're doing, and he is a great driver. I feel a little bit for Pato because Errol McLaren was fantastic all weekend. You look at the strategy, and I think to do it over, Pato would have liked to have changed the way he used his tires, or his team would have, because I think at the end they needed to. It was obviously a red tire race today, which sometimes is not the case, and they figure that out as they go. And this racing venue, they don't have a lot to figure out. I mean, they have a lot to figure out because they don't have a lot of data on it because they've not raced there much. So, with all that said, you got to be happy for Errol McLaren. Pato, I like Pato. He should have won last year's 500, but didn't. And still, hats off to Palou. Hats off to Ganassi.
Today, I think he went from favorite to significant favorite in the championship, right?
Yes.
When you win the first two.
Yeah. You're the guy to beat, obviously, but it's a long season. A lot can happen. Especially, I think they're all looking. Let's face it. Right now, they're all geared toward Indianapolis, even though they got Long Beach, they got Alabama, Barber, and then they'll have.
Before Indianapolis, it's about Indianapolis. After Indianapolis, it's about the championship.
Exactly. You nailed it. Exactly right. And I think with today, Arrow put themselves in a position where they say we're going to be a factor in Indianapolis.
Absolutely, especially the number 5 car.
Yes.
Pato Award, no doubt about that.
Yes.
All right. Well, before we talk more about the on-track racing, let's talk about the venue. How do you feel about this venue?
Mixed.
And the situation.
Yeah, I'm mixed. I think it's obviously a good venue for racing, but I think it's hard to pass. I just think it is. It's hard to pass there, and there's just so many turns. It's fun to watch it, but I was hoping there would be more drama and more passing, and they spread out. So from the standpoint of the venue, Long Beach is a better venue. Long Beach is always great racing.
The way they did it last year with the sprints and the, what do they call it, halftime last year, where they made everybody repack, it was a little bit better racing, I thought. Now it's a regular season race, I guess, and they don't have the heat races anymore and all that. So just a standalone race, no fans. That's, well, a few, but not a lot of fans. It's a little bit of a weird event.
Yes.
It looks like they're trying to fill the gap.
Yes. Probably right. I liked how they did it last year, and it was a non-points race, a couple sprint races, a couple heat races. Now it's part of the regular rotation, so I'll give Thermal credit. They obviously somebody's fronting a lot of money to be able to do that there. And
is that because the F1 track in Austin is no longer? That seems like it kind of replaced that, because let's be honest, there aren't a lot of tracks early in the season where it's warm enough, where it's guaranteed to be warm enough where you're going to get a crowd.
Correct.
There are not a ton of venues, and I thought that Austin one was pretty good. Maybe you need to do something in Mexico, especially with Pato being there.
Yeah,
but they need some kind of event. It's just too far, too much time in between races. You lose people's attention.
You're right. And Mexico might be a place because Pato's so popular.
Yeah.
I mean, not just in Mexico. He's just becoming a popular racer. So, Mexico might be a good thought process there for him.
And they've done that. They've done Monterey and somewhere else. They've done a street course. They've done, Monterey was a nice event back in the day. And it sure looked like, even with the difference in tires on that last stretch, that Pato had a big enough lead that he was going to win that race. And then all of a sudden went from 10 seconds to 8 seconds to 3 seconds and just blew past him.
It was quick that he caught him.
It was almost stunning.
Yeah.
How fast and how easy it was.
Well, especially since the weekend Pato had and Arrow McLaren had. They had a fantastic weekend. I mean, they were in the driver's seat and in control until the last 10 laps today.
Yeah. And for Arrow McLaren, you talked about that. Last week was a frustrating week for them. The entire race, Pato ended up with a pretty nice result, considering how bad qualifying went, how poorly the race had gone, most of the race for Pato. But for them to, in 1 week on a similar kind of course, to fix it in 1 week says a lot about that program.
It is. It's a strong team. Just no question. It is a strong team, and they're going to be a factor, and they're going to be a factor all year. Lundgaard, for him, I think he had a great day.
He is fantastic.
These young guys are coming on. And this year, I'll go ahead now way early, because Indianapolis is 8 weeks away or 9. One of those young guys is going to win Indianapolis this year. It's just going to happen. One of those young guns is going to win, because they, like you say, Palou is just phenomenal, but he has Ganassi with him. That's just a strong team. Although Dixon struggled from qualifying, but he did get it up for a top 10 finish.
End up in the top 10. It's amazing how he does that, isn't it?
They're good. They're good.
Yeah. And he's good.
And he is. No
one in the history of IndyCar has been better at absorbing some bad luck and then turning it into something positive.
I couldn't argue a bit with that. You're exactly right.
How many wins has he had where he was at the back of the field at one point? It's just so many. It's unbelievable. Anyway.
He's just good. He's just good. All time, I think we talked about this last time. He has to be mentioned right there with Andretti and Foyt as one of the all-time greats.
I still think there's a level down to him because of the lack of variety. But yes, as far as IndyCar goes, he's got to be number 3.
Yeah,
has to be. If he had more Indy 500 wins, then maybe we could start talking about him with AJ Foyt. But it's just not going to be able to do that. Fox is the other thing that we needed to talk about.
It was a blunder today. I'm sure they will make a great apology and say something happened and messed up, and about all you can do is say, stuff like that happens. But Fox, this being their second race where they're really trying to make an impression and really trying to get involved with racing, it was obviously a mess up today.
Especially considering it's coming off the heels of NBC that did a really nice job with it. It wasn't perfect by any means, but it was always available on the Peacock app. The practices, the qualifying shows, all kinds of stuff they did on the Peacock app. The announcers, they transferred over to Fox, but those guys are fantastic. And NBC had a good product with that. And now Fox has kind of made it hard to find the races. Besides on network television, on the app, it's very difficult to find. And like you said, the issues they've got to fix, especially before the 500.
Yes, it's got to be fixed. I'm sure it will. I'm sure the powers that be will get that solved. It just made for I kept flipping it back and forth because I put on, this is not on here, so I'll watch the IU women. And I kept that, and finally it came back on, so I was back glued to racing. Stuff happens.
Really nice day for Will Power.
Oh my!
Who really, really needed that.
He needed that, especially after last race, the mess up that was pretty much his fault.
It was his fault. I think he admitted that.
He admitted it, and today he was relentless and just kept coming and not only for him, Penske needed it because Penske had a bad weekend.
They really did.
That's just not
often they aren't in contention in some way.
Yes. And of course, McLaughlin had just a horrible day. Horrible day. I have to give Newgarden credit. He at least plugged along and did what he could. So Penske will be a factor at Indianapolis. They always are. I'm also happy for ECR at Carpenter Racing. Rossi.
Sure looks like that's going to be a good marriage.
Yes, Rossi he's just good. He's good.
He is.
And when they get to Indianapolis.
And he helped Arrow McLaren get to the point where they are.
Yes, he was a big factor in that.
Yes.
Agreed.
And he kind of went through where they had some leaner years where he was trying to get their IndyCar program up and running, and so he kind of fell back. He hasn't been mentioned a whole lot lately. And last year he was definitely outperformed by his teammate Pato, but no doubt that he is a great race car driver.
I agree. I really like him. That's going back all the way to the time he stole the Indy 500.
He really did.
Fuel mileage was just phenomenal.
I didn't even know who he was before that, May.
Yeah. Made him famous.
Yeah. And he's a good one.
Foyt had a tough day, I think. Santino, number 14, started 14th, finished 14th. A little bit funny there on the numbers.
Yeah.
But, and he's a Charger, and he...
Didn't
and of course, they're in partnership a little bit with, help me here, that they're helping out. Is it Ganassi that's teaming with them a little bit?
I can't remember.
I'm not sure. I can't remember. But they'll be strong later, especially with Ferrucci. They'll be strong. Herta had a good finish. Colton Herta.
Yeah, got in the top 5, didn't he?
Got fourth place. Got up for fourth. Marcus had a bad day, Ericsson. But Andretti, again, when we talk about teams, they'll be strong at Indy. They will be strong at Indy. They always are. They're just that good. Meyer Shank. Let's give them some kudos to Meyer Shank, a 5th and a 7th.
Nice. Very nice day for Meyer Shank.
Yes, sure. Rosenquist and Armstrong. And that's 2 good drivers.
I think so, yeah. Another 2 good young ones.
Yes.
Yeah. A lot of good race car drivers coming out of Scandinavia these days with Sweden and Denmark, and I think those are the only 2. But yeah, those 2 have been. Denmark had never had an IndyCar driver, and now has 2, and Lundgaard has been incredible. Obviously, one of the best young ones that there is, and of course Rasmussen with
ECR.
With ECR, a lot of good young, and of course the Indy 500 champion a couple of years ago, Swedish. Marcus Ericsson.
Marcus, yeah.
So a lot of talent coming out of Scandinavia these days.
Yeah.
A lot of good young drivers. I don't know what's happened there, but we've had a few over the years. Kenny Breck was a great champion.
He was.
A few good drivers from Scandinavia, but not a ton. So this is really nice to see. And I really like how much IndyCar, they've had a push to go to some young Americans, and that's good, but also that it's a worldwide, there are drivers from everywhere. I love that.
I like it too. I mean, truthfully, I think we've got the best driving group in the world. It's definitely it's the fastest racing in the world. Their advertisement for that is absolutely true. It's the fastest cars in the world, and it's a great product. I don't think today's race was as good. Maybe it's because the length of that track. It's a long track.
Yeah.
And I think that might have had something to do with why you weren't with guys nose to tail pushing at the end. But
and part of it was that there weren't a lot of yellows. That happens a lot, right?
Yeah, there was none.
That happens a lot with those kinds of races. That it spreads out, and man, did Palou, he was only 10 seconds ahead of Pato, but after that, it was like 45 seconds.
Oh, it was a big
just
gap.
complete.
It was a big gap. I want to throw one more guy out here too that was having a great race. Was Robert Schwartzman from Prima Racing. He was just having,
especially considering all the problems they've had.
Yes, and he was having a real good race going until the pit stop faux pas. I guess they struggled with the tire, and he lost about 15 places. 12, 15 places somewhere in that when it was in the pits. And of course that your day's over at that point. But
really shows IndyCar's growth that they're adding teams to the program. I think that's a really good thing. Guys are interested in joining it, which has not been the case all the time the last 30 years.
Yes, guys that have some money, as I've said many times, if I hit the lottery, I will be in racing in some form.
That's right. At least to be part of a team.
Yeah.
I would definitely do that as well. So now it's 3 more weeks. Again, I talk about this momentum early in the year. I don't know what you can do about it. I'm not sure why you would schedule a race on the day where everyone is watching the NCAA tournament, but it is what it is. 3 more weeks before Long Beach, and then 3 more weeks before Alabama. And then it really starts, and then it's every week for the rest of the year. Every week to every other week the rest of the year.
Yeah, it is. That's interesting, and you're right from the standpoint of weather. St. Pete, of course, warm. California thermal was hot.
Beautiful place, by the way.
Yeah.
Long Beach will be great weather, and then by
great.
May, Alabama will be summer-like. So those 4 fit really well. It just you'd like to have a couple more there. Mexico, Austin would be really good ones. We need some ovals. Phoenix would be great, but again,
I still push for the ovals.
Milwaukee, it's good to have Milwaukee back, but really need some ovals, and Phoenix might be a good one. Yeah, and now that Penske's kind of taken over, maybe he can make some of that happen. But one of the great things about IndyCar that sets itself apart is being able to do streets, roads, and ovals, and short ovals, super speedways. And when there are more ovals, it's a better series, I think.
I agree, and it's just IndyCar is just a good product right now. It is just a really good. For you people that are listening, if you have not gone, go to a practice. Just go. Yeah. When it comes to Indianapolis, it is just a great 2 weeks, actually almost 3 weeks, counting the road race, because that's a great race as well. But
and they practice on the oval the whole week before as well. So
yes,
so yeah. Or no, they don't, do they?
No,
they used to.
But they used to. But but right after that race is over, they switch their cars. They pull out the bad ones and put in their great race cars. It's all serious at that point. Indianapolis will always be Indianapolis.
And right now, the standings, Alex Palou has 102 points, almost double anybody else. Pato is second with 63. Scott Dixon, 61. Lundgaard, 60. Rosenquist, 56. So after Palou, there's still a lot of contenders. Kirkwood is sixth with 54 points. He's a talented guy. He's going to get his chance to win some races with that Andretti team, I think. Joseph Newgarden is in seventh with 53 points. Of course, he'll be a contender. Colton Herta, Alexander Rossi, Scott McLaughlin round out the top 10. And, of course, all 3 of those guys will be a factor at some point in the season.
And again, it's early. It's early. Long Beach has always been a precursor to the 500, where it seems as though if you do well at Long Beach, you do well at Indianapolis. Don't know why that correlation, because it's totally 2 different kinds of courses.
Exact opposites.
Yeah, but for some reason, that has always been kind of a deal where, hey, we've done well at Long Beach, we're good now.
Some others of interest, Graham Rahal and Marcus Ericsson are tied for 11th. VK is 13th, Power 14th. Imagine if he hadn't had that comeback today. And Marcus Ericsson and Rasmussen got themselves back kind of in contention with 33 points. Ferrucci has 32. Malukas. So really nobody completely out of it. Malukas is 18th, Connor Daly 19th. So DeFrancesco 20th.
Like Malukas is a good young driver as well.
Absolutely.
And when you look, he and Foyt together, I think that's a good marriage, but especially with Ferrucci as a teammate. I just like that team. I think
I do too.
Indianapolis is a they'll step up and they'll be a factor at Indianapolis in some way. I think one of the things that's interesting about Indianapolis and I'm not talking about the road race, but it's two races. The qualifying is one race,
Yes.
and then the race is itself totally different. All the other venues, you need to qualify well to place well. It is such a factor. But at Indianapolis, it's all about.
It's such a long race.
It is.
You
And
could really be from anywhere.
Yes. Yeah. And usually at about 140 to 150 the lap, you start to see what's transpiring. And guys that are fourth, fifth, sixth, if they've been hanging around, they're going to have a shot.
Really, you can come from anywhere as long as you have a good car at Indy. But we have a lot of time to talk about Indy.
Oh yeah, yeah. It is. Yeah, I just get so fired up about it.
Oh, so do I. It's just the best. I always wonder if I didn't grow up in Indiana, would I have cared about Would I have cared about IndyCar? It's such a good product that I really hope that I would have, but I don't know. But I'm so glad that I grew up in Indianapolis because IndyCar is the best form of racing when you take into consideration the action on the track, the different types of venues, the talent level. It's the best racing in the world, I think.
Everybody, I don't care what driver it is, they would trade any other win for Indianapolis. I just would.
All right. What else is going on in your world, Dave?
Well, I've watched an awful lot of basketball the last 2 weeks. Actually, 3 weeks. Having been a coach, I just love this time of year just to watch basketball. Men's, women's, NCAA, high school basketball.
How about those Red Devils?
Kudos to Jeffersonville. Sharon Wilkerson has done a phenomenal job of coaching. Just has. That is a very good team. And they're going to have their hands full. Fishers is a cut above everybody. But it's one of those things where you say, they probably beat us 9 out of 10 times. But this is one day.
Well, let me tell you, Jefferson beat Fishers in the summer.
Ooh.
And so I believe that Fishers had one of their best players out. He was going on a recruiting trip to football. But that team is so deep and balanced that I'm not sure how much that makes a difference.
Yeah.
And we've been saying all year that the only team that could beat Fishers is a healthy Jeffersonville. I'm not sure that they can anymore. Fishers looks like they've gone to an even higher level. But we got to like their chances.
They're there. They're the ones that get to play them. Hats off to Orleans is not too far away, so
right,
hats off to them.
What a great story they are. All those years been being so great for the last 20 years and just can't get past Bar Reeve 1 year, Lagodi 1 year. It will be Borden 1 year, and just all the great teams they've had, all the bad luck they've had. Nice to see them get by number 1 and number 2 on the same day.
On the same day, both in the last seconds of the game. Hats off to them. That's great. And Clinton Prairie will be a formidable opponent for them because Clinton Prairie, looking at their schedule and things, they're pretty good too.
They're very good. Be interesting to see what happens in that. 2 programs that have never been there. The Class 2A, also 2 programs that have never been there. So,
that's kind of cool.
Manchester and
University. That's kind of. I thought that was a little bit of a surprise that they got there.
Yeah, absolutely. That semi-state was loaded, and they took down everybody. Really surprising to me. In fact, on our semi-state preview show, we had 3 different people pick. We had 3 different winners picked in that semi-state. Everybody except for University. So that tells you how balanced that one was.
That's interesting. And of course, the NCAA is going on.
Of course, yeah. And the women as well. You watched IU today?
I watched it while I couldn't get the race for a little bit. I watched IU women. They played South Carolina really well. I think it would ended up an 10 or 11 point ball game. But
they led at least near halftime.
They led by 1.5. The third quarter did them in, but South Carolina is possible national champion, so they acquitted themselves really well. Coach Moran is good.
She's a good one.
She's going to lose some talent this year, but I'm sure the portal will come open and they'll land somebody.
Some good young players too who were just off the bench that are going to add to a nice program. Now, of course, Miss Basketball as well is headed to IU.
McLuskey from
Yeah, and that has not happened much over the years, so that's good to see that Miss Basketball is headed to IU because it's
Yes.
not happened much over the years.
Yes. And what we'd be remiss without saying that I really like the hire of DeVries as the coach at IU. I had a list of do not hire and a list of hire. He was truthfully, about third, fourth, or fifth on my list of to hire, but I'm not sure we could have got the 1 and 2 because I love Chris Collins at Northwestern. I just think he is a great coach. He does more with less than anybody. My second choice would have been Greg McDermott, and he was an assistant for Greg McDermott.
Right.
So he gets high praise from Doug McDermott. I saw a little interview with Doug McDermott, and he is really high on DeVries, which you would think he would be. But yeah, I think it's going to be a good hire. I think it's a refreshing hire, breath of fresh air, and let's go for it.
And I know you're an IU fan, but again, we'd be remiss if we didn't mention Matt Painter and his program.
Oh my Lord! And of course, having been at Silver Creek, Trey Kaufman ran.
Never imagined he'd be this good.
Oh my gosh, he is just
he's an All-American level player.
He is.
Never imagined I knew he'd probably contribute some at Purdue. Never thought he'd be a dominant force in the Big Ten.
Oh my goodness gracious, he is. Well, number one, the kid's got a motor. He really has a motor. He takes playing hard to a high level, but
clearly is very coachable.
Very coachable. Very coachable, because when he went to Purdue from Silver Creek, I know he wanted to develop into the 3 positions.
Exactly.
So he could, and he's totally given that. He shot 7 threes all year.
I thought he'd be a wing when he came to Purdue, and he's turned into one of the great big men in succession. Of course, he's a 4, not a 5, but
yeah. But I think the biggest and one of the best qualities that we miss with him is he sees the floor well and passes well.
He does.
Yesterday's game, he had 3 or 4 assists right off. And, of course, when he's doing that from the high post, Purdue's hard to guard.
And if the tournament came down to which team had the best 2 players, Purdue would definitely have a chance to win this tournament.
I got to give Painter credit because, let's face it, he's scoring basically from 2 spots. He's got a team that, in my opinion, has overachieved all year.
And, next year is the year they're going to be a monster.
Yeah.
If Daniel Jacobson returns healthy and having improved because he was, 18 years old, they'll be the team to beat next year.
And Benner, David Benner's son, Jack Benner, I look forward to him because I really think he was a great player in high school. Of course, I saw him all the time when he would beat up on Silver Creek, but he was fantastic. Right.
Thanks so much to Coach Chanley for joining the Central Indiana Sports Report. Always love talking IndyCar with him, and that's why I asked him to come on the show and share his thoughts with our Central Indiana Sports Report listeners. Speaking of which, thank you so much for listening. If you like what we do and you want to see us continue to grow and thrive, please share these segments with your friends and family. We thank you in advance. The Central Indiana Sports Report is a product of ITG Media. I love Susie.